The Baby Dragon evolution is here, so today I will be brutally ranking every Clash Royale evolution from worst to best. Let's go. Starting the F tier is the Evolved Goblin Drill. This is the only evolution that actually makes the card worse than its normal form. The normal form is better in nearly every situation, and it's the worst Evo by a mile. No one uses it, not even the pros, and it needs a buff desperately. Next in the F tier is the Evo Barbarians. The abilities that they get are very lackluster, and it doesn't justify using them. The extra speed and hit speed do barely anything, and it's still so easy to counter them. You also have to play regular barbs to the get evolved ones, and they are horrible. They are only used in Lava Hound and some pump decks. And lastly in the F tier is the Wizard Evolution. The shield is only good against spells and some swarms. The shield doesn't provide much value unless you drop it on a minion horde for some reason. But Wizard's attacks can already deal with swarms, so it's not needed. It's only used in mid-ladder and nowhere else. Starting the C tier is the Evolved Bomber. This Evo fell of hard and how it takes 2 cycles, and it cannot hit troops twice anymore. It's also not good because the arrows are very popular, and it's rare to see an Evolved Bomber being used. Next in the C tier is the Skeleton's Evolution. Even though they can deal with big units like the P.E.K.K.A., they are still very easy to deal with. They still get countered by every spell, and it is hard to get value from they now that there's 3 instead of 4. Next is the Evolved Hunter. The Evolved Hunter has some decent abilities. There are some good combos with it. It still has that weird interaction where it traps a Lava Hound, but it's not the best overall, and there are better evolutions out there. Next is going to be the Evolved Witch. Ever since the nerf where she can't heal from the outside skeletons, it has fallen off hard. The reason it was so broken was because you could pair it with a graveyard or skeleton barrel, and it would get tons of healing. It's a shadow of what it once was, and it's very easy to counter. Next, of course, is the Goblin Barrel Evolution. The fake barrel can deal a lot of damage if tanked for, but it's easy to take care of if the opponent has the right cards in cycle. It's only really used in log bait, and even there, players are starting to switch to the Evo Knight or Dart Goblin. It's very good for split lane pressure, though. And lastly, in the C tier, is the Evolved Goblin Cage. This card is good in some situations, but it isn't the best. It can do a good job against Hog Riders or tanks, but it's still useless against any ranged or air cards. It's decent in Recruits decks and Lava Hound decks, but not much outside of that. Starting the B tier is the Evolved Arches. This Evo is decent, and it did get a rework recently. The power shot damage is down 22%, but the minimum range to get a power shot is also down. They are good in Expo and Royale required decks, and they are solid on defense. Next in the B tier is the Dart Goblin. The Dart Goblin did get a heavy nerf, but it's not terrible. It can still put in work and get value if it's protected. It can still stop, but pushes with enough time, but it's not nearly as good as it was before. I think B tier is good for it. Next, of course, is the Evolved Battle Ram. If the opponent doesn't have a building, it can be deadly because it knocks back so many times. A lot of decks will struggle against it, particularly ones without a building, but if you do have a building, then it will feel like a regular battle ram, and the Evo Barbs don't do with either. Now is the Ice Spirit Evolution. This Evo is balanced now, and it's not too strong or too weak like it has been. The double stun is very useful, and it does its job well. It can help defend, allow win conditions to get on tower, and it's overall just versatile. It's great in cycle and bait decks and some minor control decks. Next is the Evolved Musketeer. This one is in an interesting position because the Ice Golem got a buff recently, and Musketeer's usage is around the Ice Golem. The Evo takes a lot of skill to use effectively, and it's easy to waste. In saying that, the sniping can be very useful in many situations, but it's not used outside of Hog and Balloon. Next in the B tier is the Evolved Goblin Giant. The goblins that spawn are okay, but if the opponent uses a Valkyrie to defend, then they will be pretty much useless. The Evo Goblin Giant has a lot of good combinations like with P.E.K.K.A. and Sparky. It's a pretty balanced Evo, so B tier is good. Now for the Evolved Mega Knight. This card is only used in mid-ladder because it's pretty easy to counter. It can help you break, though, against some certain units, but sometimes the knockback mechanic isn't always the best. It still gets counters with the right card and against air, so it still has weaknesses. Next in the B tier is the Tesla Evolution. This is one of the best Evo buildings because it's very versatile. The Zap can get a lot of value against multiple troops and win conditions. Even without the evolution, the regular Tesla is a solid and reliable building, and the Evo makes it even better. Next is going to be the evolved Electro Dragon. This one is only used in Golem or E-Golem decks, but it's very good in those. The extra chains can be very annoying or face, and it's great for breaking through defenses. It pairs very well with the Tornado, and it hard counters Inferno decks, but any medium or large spell can deal with it. Next is the Evolved Mortar. This is so much better than the regular mortar for many reasons. It attacks faster, and the Goblin is great for applying pressure and distracting the enemy's defenses. It's not higher because you still have to play the regular mortar to get the Evo, which is not that good. It's very versatile though, and it can fit in any deck. Next is the Lumberjack. Similar to Mortar, the ghost that spawns can put a lot of pressure and deal damage if it isn't defended properly. It's annoying to face because it rages the units behind it while damaging your defenses. It can be ineffective again, good players though, so it's B tier. Next, of course, is the Evolved P.E.K.K.A. The Evo P.E.K.K.A. has had an interesting history going up and down in the meta, and now it's pretty balanced. It doesn't heal much against swarms and cheap cards, but it held white a bit against heavy units. It's very good in Bridge spam decks, and with the Goblin Giant, which is a top-tier deck at the moment. Next in the B tier is the Firecracker Evolution. The range is still insane on this, and it's very good for chip damage on the tower from the bridge. It's also good on defense because her attacks cover such a large area. But the arrows and fireball are popular spells right now, so it will keep her in check. And lastly, in the B tier is the Evolved Royal Giant. This one has dropped a bit because the Monk and Hunter have dropped in the meta, but it's still a great Evo. All Royal Giant players use the evolution because the knockback can help him break through units and get to the tower. But it still gets countered hard by building, so it's the top of B tier. Starting the A tier is the Evolved Knight. The shield is so good for tanking damage for the supporting units. It can be used in Hog Rider, X-Bow, Goblin Drill, and Bait decks. It's such a great mini-tank, and it offers cheap defense if needed. Next in the A tier is Evolved Zap. The Evo Zap is very strong but useful. The double stun is great against Inferno decks, and it can now kill things like minions. It's not as strong as when it used to be, just like a lot of evolutions, but it's very versatile. It can allow your units to break through and deal damage if it's used at the right time. Next is going to be another spell in the Evolved Snowball. The Evo Snowball is great in Goblin Drill, and it's the reason why it's a top win condition right now. It's a big surprise factor because it wipes the opponent's units off the map, which can allow your X-Bow to connect, Mortar to connect, or Drill to connect. Next, of course, is the Evolved Valkyrie. The Evo Valkyrie can take our entire pushes by herself, and she can also deal with air cards as well as ground cards. But it's also really good on offense as well, and it can distract defenses while your win condition breaks through. It does take skill though, because it can bring a push closer to the tower. Next is the Evolved Royal Recruits. The recruits are very matchup dependent because a lot of the decks that they face like Bomb Tower, they will struggle against. But the charge in general can put a lot of pressure if it is undefended. If the opponent doesn't have the cards in hand, then they will be deadly. Next is the Furnace Evolution. This is a great evolution, and it could be the best in the game, but everyone is running poison specifically to counter it. But if the opponent doesn't have a poison, fireball, or lightning, then it will be very annoying to face. It can also take a tower on its own. But every deck has a big spell that can deal with it, so high A tier seems right. Next in the A tier is the Cannon Evolution. This Evo takes some skill, but it's so strong. It's great because you can use it on offense and defense. You can predict swarms and disrupt units. The bomb radius was nerfed because it was the best in the game, but it's still so versatile and solid. The normal cannon is also good, so sometimes you don't even need the evolution. And lastly, in the A tier is the Evolved Inferno Dragon. This Evo is the sole reason why Beatdown is suffering right now. The ability to charge up his Inferno and transfer it is so strong, and it can deal with big units in seconds. It's not S tier because it still has the same counters as the regular Inferno Dragon. Starting the S tier is the Evolved Executioner. I don't think people realize how good this one is because it can deal with entire pushes on its own. The knockback and increased damage make it hard for any unit to get close to the tower when he is defending. It's extremely underrated and easily top 5 for me. Next in the S tier is the Skeleton Barrel Evolution. The death damage of this was nerfed by 5% recently, but it did almost nothing. It still does so much damage, and the only way to counter it is to have a building. If you don't have a building, then it will always do at least 500 damage and more if the skeletons connect. Next is the Evolved Bats. The Evo Bats are so versatile. They can be used in miner decks, cycle decks, bait decks, and so much more. The only way to counter them is to have a very quick reaction time and kill them before they start healing. They are scary to play against, especially if they are played at the bridge with miner, because they will take your tower. And the best evolution in the game is the Evo Wall Breakers. A lot of people underestimate the Wall Breakers' defensive potential because the first explosion does so much damage. They are impossible to stop if you don't have a building and cycle, so you will almost always take damage. And that is every evolution in Clash Royale ranked in a tier list. I didn't include the Baby Dragon Evo because it just came out, but it would be high A or S tier if I had to guess. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you soon.